Ubisoft responds to angry NFT digits and quartz reaction. We talked to Nicholas Pouard, VP at Ubisoft Strategic Innovations Lab, about the launch of quartz and digit NFTs. So, from what I can understand, this person's kind of into the whole NFT thing. At the very least, sees like there's a potential there. I still don't, but it's whatever. But let's get to the meat of this. I haven't quite read it yet. Gamer feedback to the Ubisoft's Quartz and Digits launch generally negative. What's the feedback told you about the prospects of mainstream NFT success? Well, it was a reaction we were expecting. We know it's not an easy concept to grasp. But Quartz is really just a first step that should lead to something bigger. Something that will be more easily understood by our players. That's the way we think about it, and why we will keep experimenting. We will keep releasing features and services around this first initiative, and our belief is that piece by piece the puzzle will be reviewed and understood by our players. We hope they will better understand the value we offer them. Okay, so they're still doubling down, but do they have any ideas about it? You spoke in your presentation about improving the relationship with players. You go with Quartz, it might be frustrating to see feedback you received. Part of the process, I would say, it's a reaction we are accustomed to. I think it's great because it shows how engaged our players are and how passionate they are about their hobby and gaming in general. And looking at that, I think it's reassuring somehow. It shows that our players love what we do and love Ubisoft's ability to offer good games. Okay, so that's cool. Still, obviously, we are frustrated, yes, but I think overall it's okay and something we can really understand. We so strongly believe that what we are doing with Quartz and Digits goes in the right direction. So we will keep integrating, obviously listening to what our fans are telling us and how they're telling us as we go, so we can also adapt what we're doing and where we're going. So that's the next move, to make sure what we're doing will make even more sense to gamers. Well, let's talk about making sensitive. What do you think the big positive that gamers are missing about the NFTs like Digits can offer them? Okay. Ooh, boy. Okay, so I think gamers don't get what a digital secondary market can bring to them. For now, because of the current situation and context of NFTs, gamers really believe it's first destroying the planet, and second, just a tool for speculation. But what we at Ubisoft are seeing first is the end game. The end game is about giving players the opportunity to resell their items when they're finished with them or they're finished playing the game itself. So it's really for them, it's really beneficial, but they don't get it for now. Also, this is part of a paradigm shift in gaming. This is a part of a paradigm shift in gaming. Moving from one economic system to another is not easy to handle. There are a lot of habits you need to go against and a lot of your ingrained mindset you have to shift. It takes time, we know that.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
Okay, wait a minute. So, they said the end game is about giving players the opportunity to resell their items once they're finished with them or they're finished playing the game itself. So, okay. While I don't necessarily disagree with the sentiment there, let's say like you play a lot of Valorant, let's say, and then you want to sell those skins because you're done playing with Valorant, or you just don't like certain skins after playing with it, so you want to resell it. Not a bad idea, but you don't need NFTs to do that. Doesn't Ubisoft know the Steam market? You know, what Valve does with their CSGO skins, Dota skins, TF2 skins? Shit, I mean, they've been doing that for a long time. How come they just don't mimic that? And you don't need NFTs to do that, it's all server-side for Valve. They make sure that you have an item, you can sell it for a certain amount, yada, yada, yada. And unfortunately, they still don't have the ability to resell your games, once you're finished with it. But at the very least, they have item reselling, so Valve somehow still is ahead, even though they're kind of falling behind in the store aspect. At least certain features are a little bit lacking, to put it at the very least. However, it seems at least they're still much better off than compared to Ubisoft, and so it's really for them beneficial, but they don't get it for now. Okay, the corporation knows better than the players. Yeah, that's why you kept making all those Assassin's Creed games, and ooh, they were bad. Unity came out just buggy as fuck, and then you had to make Origins. You had to take like a 2-3 year gap, made Origins, then Odyssey, and then Valhalla. Yeah, okay, the gamers don't know what we're talking about. So, welcome back. Skim just through it. I don't think anything else matters, but wow. This part. Yeah, if you weren't on Twitter the day that this interview dropped, you probably haven't seen the memes, but yeah, basically Ubisoft just pulled a, is it just me or is it kids don't understand what's going on? It's the kids. Well, that's super funny. Anyway, what the hell? So, welcome back to the show. Yeah, so I wanted to start off with Ubisoft's response to NFTs, and they still haven't really made a compelling case. At the very least, I still haven't seen it. They say, oh, yeah, they don't understand. And they also said, oh, you can resell your items or sell your games, but that's kind of not right, because Ubisoft really hasn't given the ability to first resell items in their games, nor have they given you the ability to resell your games. If this was the case, then I could understand why they try to push for it. Now, am I still thinking that it's stupid to do that? Yes, absolutely. They already have server-side, accounts. They know who's who, and, you have this game, you don't have this game. And if they're trying to say, oh, but it guarantees ownership, you can still steal NFT wallets. There's still no regulation to, prevent you from losing out. Because at least if a bank gets robbed, for example, is it SEC or FCC? It's one of those two government agencies. At least protects you up to a certain point, and most people don't have, what's the limit, like $500,000? So you get protected. It's really, it's just dumb that Ubisoft's trying to make these points, but there's other real-life examples where we don't need NFTs and we still achieve what we want to achieve. So, that's all I want to say about that. Let's move on to the next set of news, shall we? So, on to the next set of news. Powerworld, otherwise known as Pokemon with Guns, continues to look alarming. Now, you might be asking why. Oh, you can't see that. Oh, let me just do that moving. In Powerworld, you collect Pokemon-like creatures and make them battle, or you can butcher them to eat. Huh, interesting. Oh, and also, I probably have to show a trailer here, but they also showed a sweatshop too, and I was just like, huh? What the hell? Yeah, so, to put it lightly, I guess this will grab your attention? Compared to Tenmo, or what's that other Pokemon-like thing that was like an MMO? Or it was like a, massive online game? I forget, but, yeah, it is, I guess, Powerworld's doing something different. They're letting you make guns, make sweatshops, and you can butcher them to eat. Kind of funny, but at the same time, yeah, that shit's kind of alarming. Just a little bit. So, up next, Battlefield 2042 might go free to play, Insider suggests. So, for those that don't know, Battlefield 2042 was plagued by a myriad of issues, gameplay-wise and technical, and yeah, basically, the game's not doing too well. And so, according to Tom Henderson, an industry insider, EA is very disappointed with the game's market performance and is considering implementing some form of free-to-play capacity within 2042. Very disappointing, yada yada yada. So, yeah, it's very interesting that now they're considering free-to-play so close after release. And it's worth noting that, as mentioned here, it was the 5th best-selling game in the US, so it's not doing awfully, right? At least it is selling games, but I guess for the amount of, money that went into this game, and then on top of that, like, just the general reception of the game hasn't been good. So, yeah, I guess I can see why they're panicking, but again, it feels bad that they have to do this. It doesn't show much confidence, right? And it's looking like another Star Wars Battlefront 2 situation. For context for that, Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out with a shit ton of loot boxes, people pushed back, and then it just had an awful stink around it. And even now, it's still kind of known as that. And, I mean, I've played the game after its, loot box controversy, and it's fun, sure, but I still think there's a lot of things they could improve on, but then they cut the game's life short. And I'm a little bit concerned that this might happen to Battlefield 2042 also. Now, will it happen? I don't think so. But can it? It could. And this would put EA's DICE in a very bad situation, with Star Wars Battlefront 2 not doing, I mean, it did fine, but, not doing super duper well as EA wanted it to, Battlefield 2042 doing really poorly too. What's the future of the Battlefield series going to look like? Heck, what's the future of DICE going to look like? So, who knows? Maybe with the new director on, the one that helped create Titanfall, Apex, and I think a few other games at Respawn. If he can't do it, there was nobody that could really save, I think, DICE at this point. So we'll see how this situation develops, and I'll get back to you if anything happens. Oh yeah, speaking of which, PUBG went free to play and increased the numbers by like 486% or something like that. So, not that free to play can't help a game, but at least PUBG was out for what, like 4 or 5 years? Dang, that's old. So, yeah, at the very least, PUBG situation is different, I think, compared to Battlefield 2042's. Next up on the list of shitting on Ubisoft, the future of Hyperscape. Basically, yeah, the game's shutting down. Now, so this really surprises me that Ubisoft came out with a Battle Royale so late into the game. Because, so it first started off with PUBG, then Fortnite came into the mix. I think afterwards Apex came out a little bit later, and yeah, those are like the big main 3 Battle Royales. And then Warzone came out much, much later. I think that's the timeline, right? Or something like that. But so yeah, basically, at that point, a majority of like the Battle Royale like slots have been filled. PUBG is the, super realistic one, or more realistic per se. Fortnite was the kids version and also the Super Sweats game. Apex is a movement shooter Battle Royale, and, it has its own niche. And Warzone, it's for people that just play COD. But it also has some merits too, with like building your own loadouts and then buying them and then, using it in game. Interesting ideas, I'm not gonna lie, even though Activision Blizzard's a little bit shitty. Anyway, moving on to Ubisoft, their game was kind of similar to Apex's movement. It was just crazy, right? There was some like jump boosts, there was a lot of running, the regenerating health, you have to run away, not get hit. So, to put it lightly, Hyperscape kind of felt like a futuristic battle royale with a ton of movement, which is kind of what Apex's gameplay and like setting is like. And so yeah, I'm not sure what Ubisoft was thinking. Like, if they came out with this around Apex's launch, or like, a little bit afterwards, I could see them trying to compete for the space. But as of now, a majority of the battle royales that are in play are just entrenched. And there isn't going to be another battle royale that could come out to really shake up the meta of battle royales unless, it's so much better than Apex, so much better than Warzone. And Hyperscape came out just so late, and it had a dedicated following, but, there's just better games with more content right now, and it just came out at an awful time. So, yeah, basically, Ubisoft shutting down Hyperscape. Who knows, they might try to revitalize it with NFTs, who knows? But yeah, so yeah, it's a little bit sad to see it going. I enjoyed it for the most part, but yeah, it just came out at an awful time. Interesting. So, Cyberpunk 2077 for the PS5, and I'm assuming also PlayStation 4, is seemingly leaked. So yeah, it looks interesting that now Cyberpunk's finally back in a position where it can be sold on the PlayStation Store when it was originally pulled because, well, it just couldn't run. So, yeah, interesting, and we'll see if people, actually buy the game. We'll see. And so, a final bit of news. Dusk on Switch is finally available in New Zealand. Thank you, New Blood. Probably Jacinda Ardern, Prime Minister of New Zealand. Probably. So, yeah, I kind of find this funny. So, that's the end of this week's news. Yeah, because I put up my last video Wednesday, there wasn't that much news that came around, but obviously there was some things here and there, particularly with, Ubisoft in general. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick, short week's news, and I'll see y'all next week with a whole week's worth of news, and not just Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days worth of news.